Hi Pisces, and welcome to your January 2022 General Tarot Forecast. This is Sky, coming on to talk to you about your month ahead of January. I hope you're all doing really wonderful. Yes, I think that things are getting really big for you. Congratulations, Jupiter has just moved into your sign, and it's going to really change up the game for you and bring with it a lot of expansion. In this reading, I'm going to talk about the general intuitive messages for your sign, as well as do a week-to-week tarot spread and an extended reading on Patreon. And I want to talk a little bit about the Jupiter expansion coming in for you this month. So, yes, Jupiter is the traditional ruler of Pisces. Before Neptune was discovered, Jupiter was the ruler of Pisces. So this should be like quite a homecoming for you, actually. And I'm sensing a lot of Pisces maybe not quite giving that to themselves. And it's important as you come into this time to let this be a homecoming and to maybe allow every single thing that you're partaking in to be like a homecoming. Okay. So I'm seeing so many people, Pisces or not, trying to maybe, industrialize or shift the perception of what they're creating, what they're involving themselves in, into a kind of sideline, safe, and, separate thing from themselves. So I see a big trend towards separating oneself from many of the things they're participating in. And as they do that, they kind of create these gaps or create these, pitfalls or obstacles they can be in the future as a result of these separations. So there's a big call for you to merge or unify things together in your life and to have a more, this feels really nice to me. So finally just letting go of a previous source of chaos. I see consolidation for a lot of you. So finally getting the business success that you've needed, or finally understanding your branding, finally understanding what you're creating or what you're offering, and being able to combine it together under a really incredible umbrella or under a really incredible state of being. So it's difficult almost to interpret the language of the Jupiter-Neptune conjunctions that are going to be happening over 2022. It's so big, it's so universal, it's so elevated, okay? And for a lot of people, it's hard to process. So I would imagine moving into January for you Pisces that it could be difficult to process, or it could be difficult to accept some of the things that have come up here. And even as you're thinking about your own energy or you're thinking about your own choices, as I'm in this energy, I'm kind of like, what choice do I make? What do I commit to when all of this stuff is right here? There is maybe a little bit of a crisis of commitment or a crisis of selection. Okay, so a selection crisis or a difficulty in relinquishing some of the things that can't come along now. So it's good as a Pisces person to know what can and can't come along now. And January 2022 is going to put in a nodal shift. So North Node will move into Taurus, South Node into Scorpio, and this is going to do so much emotional healing for your sign. And you almost want to maybe allow that to happen, or allow yourself to get past that point. So past January 18th, before you're going crazy and before you're trying to push things into effect. Okay, so it's possible that even leading up to January 18th, that you are at a level of crisis or at a level of difficulty that you're never going to be able to resonate with again. That's very likely at the end of December, moving into January. Just this kind of overall problem that is going to be so out of fashion or so unresonant with you, honestly, by the end of January. So that's very hopeful. Okay, knowing that some problems are just going to tie themselves up, knowing that some things are just going to come to a certain point, and knowing that you're going to basically get all of this stuff together and lose a resonating point or a connecting point to this, what I feel to be a kind of a haplessness or indecisiveness or just fogginess about how to move forward. I think by the end of the month, you're going to get it together. But also, as I'm feeling your energy, I feel that you've got to really decide what it is exactly that you're out for, okay? So at this point in time, it's very important to have an overarching goal or an overarching purpose within what you're contributing to, because I'm feeling With all this major arcana energy of the Chariot and the Fool, all right, you almost want to be very self-assured that you are moving on from this point. So like you don't really want to stagnate with the place that you're at the end of December. And you want to know that by the end of January that there is a progression or there is a moving forward of some kind. You might want to zoom out a lot. Two of Wands coming up in your reading, Four of Cups. There's this kind of independent zooming out that you do where you maybe don't consider what other people need, or you don't consider even some of the more local aspects of what you're going through, but rather you take a more global or a more extrasensory approach to some of these things. And I think that will solve a lot of the turmoil that you might have been facing, because by the end of the month of January, I think that you will be very much out of turmoil. Okay, something is happening during this month that just really clears things up for you. And it puts you into that very exalted place of having Jupiter and Neptune, your two ruling planets, coming together. It's very auspicious. Knowing that things are going to become very auspicious, things are going to become very worldly and resonant for you. What does it take to get you to that point, and what needs to be let go of in order to facilitate that type of exaltation? Okay, let's talk about your week-to-week, Pisces. In the first week, you've got the Four of Cups rooted down by the King of Wands. So you have to spend some time thinking about your creative outlets. What are you creating by yourself? What are you independently forging? This could be having a change in the first week of January. Also, I think it's a wonderful time for solitude and a wonderful time for getting to the core of your creative purpose. So what is that? Can we get past the veil with that? Can we get past the economic aspect or past even the traditional aspects and just understand what you want to create now? Because your creative capability is about to skyrocket. Okay? And the first week of January is kind of like this time within to kind of shape what that might be like. Week number 2, you've got the Two of Wands rooted down by the Knight of Swords. All of a sudden, you're moving quite quickly. It seems that you are kind of stuck between, do I stay in this like Zen, zoomed out place, or do I step into action and move forward really fast? Now, you've got to have a little bit of both. Quick movement meets focused, resolved, resolute choice crafting. Decision crafting. You're going to learn a lot in the second week about how you combine together these aspects of yourself to really make grander progress. And then in the third week, you have the Chariot rooted down by the Three of Cups. Some things you can't take with you, okay? So you got to know what comes with and what stays behind in the third week of January. If you had one vehicle and you were like moving and you're like, okay, I've got to choose what I put in here. I obviously can't like put my house in here. I can't like put my, there's only so much I can fit in this vehicle. There's some kind of vehicle in your life. And when I say vehicle, I'm meaning this symbolically. Okay. Certainly you might be purchasing a new vehicle, but when I'm thinking of that, I'm thinking as if you're being transported or you're being moved into a different type of vicinity as a Pisces, a vicinity with which you can access this Jupiter-Neptune oncoming energy. So what prevents that? You should be very clear on that by that point in time. And can you let that disentangle itself or work itself out, resolve itself, and move into these more wholesome wavelengths, okay? People are going to support you. Three of Cups, reading that down. People support this mobility that you have. People support this transition you're in. People support this movement. So anything within you that's like, I'm not sure if it'll work out. I'm not sure if I'll be successful. I'm not sure if I want to commit to like my purpose because I'm afraid of like loss of some kind. Try to know that you have a network building you up and that it is going to come through in a positive way. Week number 4, beautiful. You have the Fool rooted down by the Ace of Cups. I just love that for you. New beginnings that resonate emotionally with your context, okay? No longer do you have to worry so much about just being emotionally, not behind what you're outputting. It feels like you're really in a call of resonance or in a push for significance emotional significance. Emotional significance connecting to a brand new beginning. How beautiful. So yes, if you've needed to start something, that's going to start coming in the 4th week of January. And also know that it takes a bit of transportation, or it takes a vehicle of some kind to get there. That seems to be the most important thing for you coming up this month. And let's talk a little bit more about that in your extended reading, Pisces. A little bit brief this month, but I want to talk about more about this transportation or this mobility that you're having, and giving you some guidance about how to facilitate that in a very positive way. You can find that linked below and in the center of your screen now. Have a wonderful month, Pisces. Much love. Bye.